nice to see that sunshine again.
It certainly is.
My gosh, but it's been forever since we've been able to see it in this fog, Gary.
Yeah, well...
Does it want us to take up residence forever, or what?
We had the perfect recipe for it, but you know, not all fogs are the same, too. I mean, this was a fog that basically was because of the melting snow and the moisture in the air. But let's take a look at some of the different types of fog in beyond the barometer. Now, the one that we've been seeing recently is what we call advection fog. That's what happens when you have moist air over cold air because of snow on the ground or because of cold air near the ground, but basically that just gives you widespread fog. That's what we've been seeing a lot of. You know, once you start melting that snow, you add a little moisture to the air. If you don't have much in the way of winds to get rid of it, yeah, that's the result. You end up with advection fog. Now, we also have radiation fog. This is common. You see this a lot during the summer where the skies are clear and near the ground, temperatures are a little colder near the ground, especially like in valleys or low-lying spots. And if there's enough moisture in the air, when the air gets close to that dew point, it forms fog, but only in those places where the temperatures are a little colder. So that's why, you know, we measure the temperatures near the ground rather than above the ground, because the temperatures could be a lot different there. As we take a look at ice fog, this is ice fog. We see this often over actually all four of the Madison lakes when the lake waters are still open, but we have cold temperatures that are riding over that warm weather. So what happens is that moisture condenses and it hits the cold air above the water, and you end up with steam fog. You see it, you know, sometimes, especially on the Great Lakes, it can be very dense at times, but most of the time it's just, you know, little wisps of steam that you see there. Now this one is less common. This is called ice fog. This happens when temperatures are really cold. I actually saw a couple of examples of it when we had our cold spell a couple of weeks ago, because what happens is you get, when temperatures are extremely cold, the air doesn't hold very much moisture. So what happens is any moisture in the air it really forms ice crystals. It doesn't even form water droplets, it forms ice crystals. When I was in Rhinelander, you know, the Wisconsin River was very narrow there, so it would never freeze because of the moving water, but the temperatures would get down to 25, 30 below zero, and you cross there, and Susan, you remember this going to the station, you would see the fog right over the river because that moisture just turns into ice crystals as it moves on through. Another type of fog, obviously we don't have around here.
Wow.
This is what we call upslope fog or mountain fog. Basically, fog is just a cloud on the ground. So when you get to a point where the moisture rises up far enough along the mountain where temperatures are a little colder aloft, then you get clouds and fog to form. This was actually taken by me on one of our holiday vacation trips. It's at the top of Mount Haleakala, where we're about 10,000 feet above sea level.
Oh, wow.
But of course, you know, the air is very moist near the sea and warm. It's warm in Hawaii. As that moisture goes up the mountain, then you end up with upslope fog or mountain fog.
It's beautiful. So as our temperatures get warmer, our chances of the thick fog we've had recently will get smaller?
It'll get a little smaller because you have to get that the temperatures down to form the fog. So sometimes you still get it at night, but during the day we should be okay.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Thank you, Gary.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Gary.